haste, the 6 billion theft, and the fuel subsidy haste are just a few of the evils that Raila cheered on. Shame, shame. As for any elected leader, joining on these unfortunate calls to burn the country down, they should first resign from their elected positions first on two grounds. Number one, it is the same IEBC that declared the president, the same one that declared you as an MP, as a governor, as a senator, and all the other elective seats. It was wrong on the president, but it is right on their side. Shame. 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 It is either the people are represented or they are exercising power directly. Yes. Never both. It can never be both. If the people have to exercise their power directly, relinquish your representation role and join on the direct exercising of power. Finally, the youth of Kenya must remember that as they are being called to the streets for slaughter, the sons and daughters of the organizers of these demonstrations are away in Arusha as members of the Iyala Parliament. They are drawing salaries from the taxpayers' coffers and building good careers and lives for themselves as the sons and daughters of hustlers and strugglers are encouraged to be on the front line of danger and peril. Shame! Finally, Kenyans should know that every time Raila rallies people to his chaos, it's only Raila that benefits. In 1982, Ochuka was hanged. In 2007, he walked on a bridge of dead bodies to the coalition government. Shame! He was not the one who stood trial at the end. In 2018, even Miguna was deported after swearing him in. Yes. Even today, he wants to use the same tactic, walk on possibly dead bodies to benefit from the chaos he causes. Raila only fights for the greedy Raila. That's all.
Thank you, Chief Whip. I think our statement is one that we want to call out Mr. Odinga and his desperation, an insatiable appetite for bloodshed in this country. And as we have said in our statement, the only person who over the years has benefited from his insatiable thirst for bloodshed in this country is only one man, Raila Amolo Odinga. Not the people he purports to speak for, and not even his partners in the coalition, including his sponsors today, who also suffered the same blackmail that Mr. Odinga is trying to exercise today. We want to support His Excellency, the President, in what he said yesterday, that this is a nation that will be governed by the rule of law, not the rule of men. Past regimes might have made Mr. Odinga believe that he is above the Constitution and above the laws of this republic. We want to say that the government now has a sacred duty and responsibility to show Mr. Odinga that he is a subject of the Constitution and a subject of the laws of this republic like all other Kenyans. Two, we appreciate that every Kenyan under the Constitution, under the Bill of Rights, has certain rights that are guaranteed to them, including the right to demonstrate peacefully, to picket, to hold processions, but there are ways as to how you do that. You must work with the security agencies to offer you security and escort you. But what we have seen with the Odinga demonstrations over the years have nothing to do with peaceful picketing. And all indications so far, and I'll draw reference to what happened in Kisumu City yesterday. I also draw reference to the calls by his army of goons that he arms them with guns, as we saw in Kilifi. One of the speakers, as Mr. Odinga sat there cheering and clapping, one of the speakers asking him to now arm them with guns I don't think anybody needs a gun or to be armed to picket or to hold a peaceful procession or demonstration. And Mr. Odinga's history and past speaks the opposite of anything to do with peaceful demonstrations or peaceful picketing. As we have said, Mr. Odinga is now pointing fingers at this regime and the Kenya Kwanza administration for the high cost of living. But we want to call his bluff. It is Mr. Odinga who cheered on as the last handshake administration was looting this country dry. And because I said very soon we shall be naming these people, I want to state categorically that Mr. Raila Odinga was the net beneficiary of the COVID haste, of the fuel subsidy haste, of the telecom haste, and when details come, Kenyans will get to know that the net beneficiary of all the theft under the Kenya Kwanza, the Jubilee handshake regime, the net beneficiary of all the looting was Raila Odinga plus his sponsors who are even sponsoring him up to today. We know the desperation for Mr. Odinga, besides the late realization that he may not have the energy and the stamina to run another election, is the desperation to cover up for the theft and outright looting of our economy under the last regime. And we want to promise Mr. Odinga, his sponsors, and his army of goons that the Kenya Kwanza administration, and least of all President William Ruto, shall not be intimidated by any means. The pursuit of those who looted our economy will continue unabated, notwithstanding his demonstrations. The pursuit of those who use their offices to run away from taxation by offering themselves exemptions, tax waivers, and relief will continue. And this administration will also continue to work on means and ways of uplifting our economy and improving the cost of living for the Kenyan people, to make life more bearable for the people. And the president has already begun work on that. All these members you see here, you saw them in the National Assembly when others boycott the National Assembly. These members were there yesterday debating the budget policy statement to ensure that we have in place programs that will ensure that we bring down the cost of living to the Kenyan people. That's why we are challenging our colleagues in the Azimio coalition. And most of those in ODM who are now slaves of the Odinga dynasty, please, it is only yourselves who can rescue yourselves. Nobody will rescue you. But we must remind you that the people of Kenya elected you as members of parliament to come and deal with issues and matters that are concerned to them through parliament, not in the streets. And that's why we have said, should you find you have no space in the National Assembly and in parliament as members of parliament and senators, simply quit your positions and join the rest of the army of goons asking for arms. But we must also tell them that this government has a sacred duty to ensure that the rule of law reigns in the governance of our country. And we want to encourage the president and all security agencies to spare no effort and no energy to protect lives, protect people's property in Nairobi and outside Nairobi in other cities, so that the unfortunate incidents that happened in Kisumu yesterday will not happen again. Last night, along Bugani Road in Karen, Mr. Odinga held a planning meeting, details of which we have with his ODM members of parliament. And we have details of how they plan to cause chaos and violence within the city over the weekend, culminating with massive destruction of property and bloodshed on Monday. And we just end by reminding Mr. Odinga, you are not above the law. This country shall be governed by under the Constitution and with the rule of law, not the rule of men. The former president might have made you believe with a handshake that you are above the law and you can do all that you want. We want to tell you that impunity shall end and shall come to an abrupt end under this administration. And the people of Kenya have moved on. The people of Kenya want to see the economy working again. We invite you members of parliament to join us to working through uplifting the lives of the people of Kenya by working on the economy that we destroyed under the handshake regime. Shortly, as we say, and you have seen a number of committees of this House have begun work on the telecom haste, the maize subsidy haste, and the committee on energy will soon be embarking on the fuel haste, the subsidy haste. We have had Mr. Odinga and his army demand a reinstatement of these subsidies, and we want to tell him it shall not happen. We shall not continue to feed the monster that has destroyed our economy. Yes. You destroyed our economy with those useless subsidies that were only there for a month and ended up benefiting your families only. As I said, with time, Kenyans will get to know, besides Mr. Odinga and his family, the other net beneficiaries of those subsidy programs that they are now demanding. Thank you.
My friend,